The resident characters have been through a lot this year. The whole pandemic and a bunch of other stuff that happened that we will get into in a bit. But the most recent bombshell has to be the massive cliffhanger that The Resident left us with during the Season 5 mid-season finale. The boss breaks it down, and we will check that out and more. The Resident news. Warning, massive spoilers are ahead. What happened? For a few episodes, Dr. Randolph Bell has been struggling with his health. He's had hand tremors and blurry vision that was seriously starting to affect him, and he had even been having trouble in the operating room. Some of the possibilities that he said in the show that could be wrong with him was cancer or a stroke. Neither of them good, and both of them could mean the end of his career. Then at the end of the mid-season episode, Conrad had been doing some tests, and he was right on the verge of explaining exactly what was wrong with Bell. He started speaking, and the episode came to an end. It will be more than a month before we know what's wrong with him. It's pretty scary, but incredible how they all turned us around on our feelings for Bell in recent years. If you think back to Season 1, none of us could stand Dr. Bell. He was the bad guy that had a massive ego and didn't care about his patients. But as we got to know him, we really started to love him. He helped Nick and Conrad in a bunch of different situations and showed that there is nothing more important to him than his patients and taking care of the hospital. If they put him in danger, it might just be more than we can handle, especially if you take into account what they have already put us through this season. Why did they do this to us? Andrew Chapman, who is the executive producer of The Resident, has explained their thinking behind the mid-season cliffhanger. Chapman explained that the plan was always to leave us wondering what was really happening with Bell. They knew that they would allow one character on the show to know what was going to happen, but that they want to leave the revelation over until the second half of the season and give them enough time to explore this storyline fully. It sounds like they wanted to make sure that it would keep the impact. If they just let us know exactly what was going on in the mid-season finale, then it would have lost impact by the time the show comes back. Now, we will be wondering and worrying about it the entire time the show's on break. And then we will be feeling the characters' emotion and how they deal with the situation more fully when they're working through it. Chapman didn't reveal any details about what Bell could be facing, but he did say that it was going to be a really big deal. This show has broken our hearts quite a few times, and some of the biggest ones were in the same season. It is obvious they don't mind doing it. I don't know if I'm ready for the show to come back. How about you? When will it be resolved? It sounds like the situation won't be resolved for a while. What he has will probably be revealed when The Resident returns in February, so at least then we will know what is going on, but they have said that it will be a major plot point during the rest of Season 5. Bell is going to have to tell Kit and everyone else that cares about him what's going on. He will also have to face his diagnosis himself and what it will all mean for his future. It would be a lot for anyone to handle, but for someone like Bell, who is incredibly proud, it will be even harder. All I'll say is they really better not kill off Bell this season. It would just be too hard to handle all in one season. Why did they cut Nick out of the show? Back to some of the earlier heartbreak that we've experienced in Season 5 of The Resident. Why did they have to cut Nick out of the show? Was there any bad blood between actress Emily Van Camp and the creators? No, there wasn't, but it was time for her to focus on her personal life. By the end of Season 4, Nick and Conrad had their happily ever after. They had their baby, and they were all healthy and happy. But at the same time, Emily was also pregnant in real life, and she had been working non-stop for so many years. It had to be really exhausting, and she made the choice that she wanted to be with her baby for a while. But that gave the show only a few options to replace her. They could cast another actress in the role of Nick, but we've loved her for so long, and who would really live up to Emily Van Camp? It wouldn't make sense. She could leave Conrad and Gigi, but it would never work because it would go against everything Nick believes in, and fans hate it when a show acts out of a character's character. Here's looking at you, Alex Karev. The only option was her getting killed, and the choice of leaving her family being taken away from her. Still, they managed to make Nick a hero right at the end. How much did Nick's death break your heart? Are you worried about Bell? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Next up, we'll check out the time jump, how things have changed, and a lot more. So stick with us. Was the time jump really needed? Do you guys think the time jump they did was really needed? I think it's crucial, and I will tell you why. After Nick died, there was just no way that Conrad would be the same for a very long time. He and a bunch of the other characters were going to be completely wrapped up in their grief. And if they rushed that process, then it would not feel natural at all. And if Conrad just got over it, then not only would it have felt unnatural, but it would have completely downplayed how important the character was to the entire show and to the other characters. But at the same time, watching a bunch of people completely consumed by grief is okay for an episode or two, but then the show has to move on to keep their momentum. Giving them a few years to grieve felt much more natural. Now they've had some time and it doesn't feel like they're being disloyal to Nick. They have to start moving on while still remembering her. But at the same time, the show was pretty different, and they had to think about where the characters were when we left them and how their life would progress. Still, if they went too far forward, then it might have become a show that no one ever recognized. It was tricky, but I think they've done a really great job so far. What kind of changes happen? Obviously, one of the biggest changes has to be in Conrad. He is older and has been through so much. He's been a single father for a while and lost the love of his life. Kit and Belle have finally become a couple, and we can't wait to see more details of how that happened. I must say that since many of us have been hoping for the relationship for a long time, it would have been a massive bummer if they hadn't managed to get together so many years into the future. And obviously there are a few new faces, which would be expected in a massive hospital. New employees would obviously have joined the team in that time. Things have changed, but not so much that it will feel weird to watch the show. How is Conrad going to change? Conrad and Nick have always been the heart of the show, and even if she isn't there, it will still be about him. During the time jump, Conrad had decided to take a slower paced position so that he could be around for Gigi. Everyone has tried to get him back to Chastain, and he's finally done it. There was a lot of back and forth before he finally decided, and that was fine. It was a big decision, but they kept on with it just long enough to be realistic for such a big decision and to not start boring us. We all knew that he would eventually return, or at least really hoped that he would. The show wouldn't be the same without Conrad being at the hospital doing his thing. But the breakthrough came when Gigi liked daycare and wanted to go back. Now, they've also hinted that Conrad might be getting a new love interest. I don't know if fans or the character is ready for that, but it is going to be interesting to see him back out in the dating scene and the challenges that hold for a single father who really loved his wife. Are you excited to see the second half of season 5? Share your thoughts with us. Thanks for watching.